What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about what's going on with Project 007. This is a game that I frequently get asked about, and I thought, hey, you know what? It's pretty perfect for an end-of-the-year type video such as this. So what we do here is, well, the title is kind of obvious. We talk about what's going on with a specific game. Now, the interesting thing with this, okay, it kind of sneaks up on you, but it also kind of doesn't. I've been asked about this game for so long and so many times, and then you start to think, okay, well, I think of some of the worst case examples of games that get announced too soon, right? Now, this one's a little bit different because, you got like a teaser, like the 50-some second thing that they did back when they announced it, which we'll get to in a second, and, we've gotten absolutely nothing on the game, right? Like, we know it's probably going to be some sort of hybrid Hitman and then a little bit more kind of action-y like, and I think it's going to be, honestly, super, super cool. I have a ton of confidence in that team, and I think this is going to be a very special game whenever we get it. But we got that, okay? So there technically is a trailer, so I don't know, like, what you want to say about what I'm about to say next. But when I think of Wonder Woman, and, I've brought, like, Kingdom Hearts 3 in the past, there's some really bad examples, Beyond Good and Evil 2, right? Games that get announced, and they show trailers, Wonder Woman, Wolverine, things like that, right? 3, 4, 5, 6 years, okay? Now, there's actually becoming a pretty good group of games that have done the same thing, but just not shown trailers. Now, again, because this game did show a trailer, maybe you classify it, and because it's the same kind of tease as like a Wonder Woman thing would be, right? But at the same time, I don't know, I kind of like don't even count that, and I say this is an example of a game that got announced and it's still not out, and we've gotten nothing on it. But we're actually over 4 years. Again, this is a game that just has kind of snuck up on me because, I think of games that are like 3 years old, like Wolverine or Wonder Woman, right? Those games are like 3.5 and just over 3 years since we saw them first. But when you have like 007, there's a couple others I'm going to make videos on, over this kind of holidays time. It's actually kind of scary how many games. Now, again, like they announce it and then they don't show it. So it's like, well, maybe they don't, we don't get too excited because we don't have anything like in our minds yet. But they announced this thing back in November of 2020. And I can't actually believe it's been 4 freaking years. So we're sitting here 4 years after it was announced and we've gotten nothing on it. So I want to kind of open it with that just to kind of paint the picture of like, if you thought, oh, maybe this game was only announced, a couple of years ago, or how time flies. I covered this when it was first announced 4 years ago. Time does fly, my friends. And here we are 4 years later, nothing. So this year has been very, very quiet. Now, one thing that I did find when doing kind of my annual search, of did I miss anything? Like, was there something, on any of these games? I did see an article that linked back to an old article back in 2022, and IO Interactive published I think they're like an earnings report, okay? And in that report, they talked about kind of like a decreased sales and nothing that would like spring it up until after June 30th of 2025. Now, I found that quite interesting. This was back in, I think, the fall of 2022. So much like, again, the game was announced 4 years ago, then we got nothing. This report thing was done 2 years ago, okay? And in that report, it very much sounds like the game cannot or just won't come out before July of 2025. Okay, it's not going to come out any earlier than that. Now, does that mean it's literally going to be July 2025? No. Does it also mean, or what can it also mean, I guess, in general? Well, they did this back in 2022, right? 2 years, a whole 2 years. A lot can go right, and maybe you can speed things up. We've seen some teams do that. A lot of things can go wrong, and things can get delayed, and we've seen more teams do that than the first one. There's a couple examples. You have games going pretty, faster than you might imagine, but most cases, even if you set like a 4 or 5 year deadline, normally stretches, at least a couple months for the majority of games on planet Earth, okay? So that was an interesting find, in case anybody forgot about that. There is that, I guess, to report and to talk about. So, okay, well, now we go into 2025, right? 2024, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And now we go into 25. The game I don't think is coming out in 25, but I do think 26 is a possibility. It's odd because we talk about how big 25 is, right, as a year. I actually think we're going to get probably not like a 2009, 2010 thing that was just firing on all cylinders, but I do wonder if 2025, 2026 are going to be pretty big because there's so many of these type of games that probably don't come out in 25, but then, their odds, I think, probably skyrocket. Maybe not guaranteed, like a Kingdom Hearts or a Persona or a Tomb Raider or a 007. I mean, there's 4 gigantic ones right there. Do any of them come out in 25? Probably not. Is it very possible, say half, at least 2 of those 4 can come out in 2026? I think so. And I think that's kind of what makes these next 2 years, hopefully, maybe I'm just too optimistic, hopefully really, really special. But okay, I mean, going into next year, I really think it's time to see something because, I don't know. It depends on how you view it and if you count that trailer or if you care that they showed the trailer or not. But in my mind, when I talk about games getting announced too early, and I literally mean getting announced. I don't mean, yeah, showing trailers and then to show nothing afterwards, that hurts more because you've seen it. But I think just the general idea of they announce something and then you're just sitting on it. I mean, they're obviously not, but it kind of gives off that idea that they're just sitting on it for so long. That's what I don't like. That's what I've kind of gotten sick of over the last couple of years. So if they go through 2025 with nothing, by the way, half a decade, right? 5 years of not showing the game whatsoever. So I've got to imagine at some point in 25, whether it's a Jeff Keighley show like Summer Game Fest, Gamescom Game Awards, or a PlayStation show or an Xbox show, whatever it might be, I've got to imagine that this game is going to be shown because even if it comes out a year and a half from now, okay, like right now, or even if you want to say 2 years from now, right? Say you go to 2026, very end of the year, even 2027. You can even stretch it into that. I mean, that would be 2 years away from whenever they show it. So it's like, once it's shown, you're not we've already done the majority of the waiting, like factually, right? We've done, say, 4.5 years of waiting. You show the trailer, even if it's 2 more years out, which, by the way, is just another thing of the gaming industry has got to try to shrink that because we can't have that ongoing here going into the next console generation. But whatever, 6.5 years, say, in all, we did 4.5 already. So it's like, okay, then we don't have to do 2. So I feel like 2025 is the year. I guess it took me 7 or less minutes to get to that topic, but I do think 2025 is the year that we actually see this game. I do not think the game comes out that year. Those are just a couple easy predictions, I would say. You let me know what you think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.